Welcome humans to another Minecraft 1.17 build showcase. It's been a while, but I'm back, and with more videos coming soon. Now, let me show you what I've gathered in the meanwhile for this video. So, first off, a very big feature, or block that was added was the Deepslate. Mid-tone, if you will, between black stone and stone. Here I use Deepslate and cobble Deepslate as well as basalt for a path, different than usual. It's not your cobblestone and gravel mix, it's a little bit darker, it's very elegant, I really like it. The sound effect is really cool when you walk on it. Another thing I use here is the Deepslate tiles, yeah, there you go, as tiles or painted wood, like painted black planks, it's for more German style, Tudor style build. It's very different than normal and I really like it. It's very elegant. We also use some glowberries here for vine effect and for more greenery, and that's basically it. Now, still on Deepslate, this is a Dwarven Entrance. And the Deepslate really ties in with the Dwarven style, it's not as black as blackstone and it's not as light as stone. Here I used an entrance and I use copper as the little details, like the trims here for the copper pickaxe on the symbol here. I think copper and Deepslate is very nice working with the Dwarven style. Little cog here for moving the door up. I even used some candles here for simulating dynamite, as if they were using dynamite to mine there, and pieces of detail here. I also used the lightning rod as a candle holder or torch holder now, and I think it looks pretty interesting. I might work with this in the future. Who knows? Anyways, this is definitely one of my favorites. This is a house, a steampunk house, and again has a lot of details because steampunk is like that. I use the copper details again, but what really surprised me is the copper roofs, because the transition between oxidized copper and copper works for a roof really nicely. I wouldn't think about it, combining these two colors, but when you put them together, the end result's really nice. Also use some lightning rods here as tubes, another copper cog, and so on and so forth for more details. Now, this one's a pretty big one. Here I have an Art Expo building, New York style, whatever you call it. I used some slightly or weather cut copper because the color of it goes really nice with sand and these light yellow blocks, and I think it works really nicely. I use this smooth basalt here to simulate a very dark marble for the sign, and I think it works really well. It's very luxurious, very elegant. You would see these dark marbles on banks and so on. Also the bushes here, the trim bushes made out of azalea and moss put together. They sell the luxurious feel. Also trim grass using moss and grass blocks just to look like it's trim. Now, still on the moss block, here I have an old castle. Now, I used moss to make moss. Who would have thought, But yeah, usually when you want to make a mossy building, you use moss blocks like the mossy stone brick, vines, and maybe some leaves, but you can never do that thick vine. Now, you could try to make that with a lot of vines or a lot of leaves, but the problem with leaves is that they make your build very bulky because they are one extra block. And the vines, if you put a lot of vines to simulate this moss here, it doesn't work quite well because it's very transparent and it becomes very noisy real fast, So the moss block is really good for moss. I don't believe I'm saying that, but yeah. The only problem is you can't have one block wide wall, because when you're inside the castle, you will see this gross moss growing inside. We don't want that. So you need to have two wide walls for that. I also use some drip clips here, for more detail and so on. And I think it works really nice. Moss carpets too here to make a little bit more of a thin grass going, or moss. Now, for this one, it's not so much on the outside apart from rooted dirt here, because rooted dirt is like a perfect transition between granite and dirt. And so you can make a very good transition between brick, granite, and dirt now using rooted dirt, because it has this pinkish pixels here. It's very nice. Now, the main thing I want to show, it's not the building, it's what's inside of it, and it is a jewelry, root gems, as you can see. Heading inside, if I can close the door, I was looking the other day at the Deepslate ores, and they are very different from the normal ones. Apart from I'm not used to it, but it's very, the colors contrast in a good way. It's really beautiful when you see one out in the wild. So I was looking at it and I was wondering, how can we use this? Because this is such a cool texture, and I came up with the idea of using as gems on some sort of cushion. You know, you go to a jewelry, they have little tables with cushions in them, and they have like exposed jewelry, root gems, just refined gems. You know, here we have some emerald ore, maybe we have some root gold, or maybe some gold rings over there. You know, that type of jewelry. And I also use the crystals and the candles here as details to tie everything together. And I think, like, overall it's very simple. It's not very useful unless you want to build like a emerald shop on the server, or an amethyst shop on the server. But you can make it work, is what I'm trying to say. Now for this is a Japanese garden. Now with the 1.17 we had a lot of vegetation blocks, moss block being one of them. But one that I really like, apart from the moss block, is azalea bushes. Flowering azalea, especially, because we never had a flowering bush before, and now we finally have. So I made a tree, a flowering tree, with the azalea bushes, and I think it works really well. It's really beautiful in it. Yeah. And I even added a little bit of carpet here to give it more color, you know? It looks like it has more flowers than just there is in the texture. Also, little build trick here, you can put spore blossoms underneath fences. So I put one here, because the fences are the branches of my tree, and the spore blossom gives this really nice effect. Let me turn my effects on. Like, look at that. The spore blossom spawn these particles, and it's really amazing. And if you put it next to a tree, it looks like there's leaves falling from the tree, and it's really nice. I really love it. Again, drip leaves on the sides for more detail. Cattails, I showed this in my last video. More bushes here. I even used the rooted dirt here to simulate root, of course, on this hanging cliff. I also made this very weird looking flower, as you can see. It's like 3D. Every other single flower is like 2D, you know, but this one is 3D and looks like a claw. I mean, you can still use it if you want to. A little bit on the weird side anyway, but yeah, you know. Azalea, flowering azaleas here, they look amazing, don't they? Yeah, really nice. And yeah, this is basically it for this. Now you might be wondering, Arthur, yeah, that's all great and all, but what are the beans? What can you do with the beans? And let me tell you, not much. So, finally, to the bean blocks. I'm just kidding, of course. The raw blocks, gameplay-wise, they're very well. I think it's very nice, you know, to store more blocks and so on and so forth. But it's hard to build with them, at least now. The textures on this snapshot at least look a little bit better, you know, especially the iron ore, and the gold ore is a little bit less saturated. And I think it's, even though they had an upgrade, they still are very hard to use, you know. But I've tried my best, and I managed to come up with 3 designs using these blocks. The first one, very interesting one, I made corns using the raw gold block. You can use them at the bottom of popcorn maker, like this one in the cinema, and you will have like little corns in there. I mean, little, they're massive corns there, like if you were making popcorn, you know. I even used some glow item frames here to look like the TVs showing off the movies, the drinks, and so on. Yeah, but really not much to do with to do with these blocks. Here I use the raw iron block as stones. I think they are very good for stones, so I use them in a path with a combination of dripstone block and rooted dirt, and the colors really match, but it's still a little bit weird, but I mean, it works as a stone here. Maybe you could put this on a shore, it would be really nice, you know. It's not very gray like the stone, and a little bit more sandy, but still a little bit of cobbles and pebbles work really nice. And for the more difficult one, in my opinion, because there's these oxidized bits on the raw copper ore, block, and it's really difficult because you have like two colors colliding together, you know. But I think the copper raw block works really well as scales. Actually, both of these do, but I think the copper being more reddish, in this case orange, works more well with a regular dragon. So I made a dragon, and the raw copper ore are his scales. I think, if you get too close to it, it doesn't really look that good, but from afar, yeah, kinda. Again, it's really hard to work with these 3 blocks here, but I try my best. If you have a better idea on how to use these 3 blocks or any of the 1.17 snapshot, share them with me. I would love to hear what you have to say about these blocks and textures. And yeah, thanks for watching, and farewell.